This is the Children's Hour. I am your host, Katie, and I'm very excited to be with you this morning. We have a special guest in the studio, Bob McCannon from the New Mexico Media Literacy Project, and he's going to be just enlightening us in 100 ways. So let's kick off with a little bit of this bizarro stuff.
I'm just a little kid with a mouth beneath my nose. When someone takes me shopping, this is how it goes. It says, buy me something, 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 buy me something, 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 buy me something, buy me something, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me something, please. Even if I have one, my mouth says I need two. And if mom tells me no, here's what it will do. It says, buy me something, 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 buy me something, 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 buy me something, buy me something, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me something, please. We're supposed to look for presents for my family, but my mouth doesn't care about anyone but me. It says one of these or one of those or that one over there. Hurry, buy me anything, I don't really care. Just buy me something, 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 buy me something, 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 buy me something, buy me something, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me something, please. My parents really hate it, they have to count to 10. They say they'll never, ever, ever buy me things again. I've really got a problem, my mouth just loves to shop. Maybe you could buy me something that might make it stop. What do you think? It's worth a try. You could probably save a cute little kid from getting killed by an angry parent. Look, it's not my fault if my mouth has some kind of rare shopping compulsion, is it? You could just put it on your charge card, and then you wouldn't have to pay right away. Oh, please buy me something, 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 buy me something, 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 buy me something, buy me something, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me. I'm going crazy. I can't stand it. Please don't make me leave this door empty-handed. Buy me something, buy me something, buy me something, 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 buy me something, buy me something, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me something, please. Buy me something, buy me something, buy me something, buy me something.
Buy me something expensive, something new. Spend lots, don't be a cheapskate, or I'll get mad at you. Buy me things of great value, stuff to save. I want giant collections of everything ever made.
So what is it with this compulsion that some of us kids have to buy? Where did we get that?
Well, Katie, I think awful lot of the compulsion to buy comes from the media. We have a completely commercialized media system, which for you kids out there sounds normal, but do you know that back in 1934, when the first Communications Act was passed, no one in Congress even suspected that the media system would be commercial. No one thought that it would always be trying to get you to buy stuff.
You mean media system? You mean like TV, radio, magazines?
All of that. TV, radio, magazines, internet, all of that is commercial now. No one suspected that it would be that way when it started. So consequently, everything now tries to sell us stuff and make us think that things will make us happy when, kids, I know this is hard for you to understand now at your age because I was the same way you were at your age. But things really don't make us happy. People make us happy.
So you at the New Mexico Media Literacy Project, you're helping kids understand about how they're being manipulated, basically, how we're being molded into little consumers.
Yeah, what we try and do is make media literacy fun. We try and teach kids about media in ways that are appropriate to how old they are and what their interests are, and try and make them more knowledgeable consumers because we think it makes them happier people and gives them more freedom.
Could you do a little education for us today on our show? Like, we have a lot of listeners, and they're all different ages, but, mostly, the age of a kid. And I know that when kids, see magazines with these, especially girls, I'm a girl, and you see these magazines with these really skinny, anorexic girls that never eat, and that's how they look that way. Tell me, how can we resist? What would you do to start a media literacy?
Well, taking your example, one of the things we would point out is that over the last 10 years, models have steadily gotten thinner and thinner and thinner, and they've gotten to the point now where they just can't be any thinner and still show up for work because they'd be too weak to work. There's all kinds of great media examples out there, and I've got one here that I could play for you. It has a very short little message in it, and it has to do with eating, and it has to do with being thin or not being thin. Should I play it?
Yeah.
Here it goes.
Horrifying, isn't it? With all peanut butter flavor, you'll always come back for more. Nothing but peanut butter taste in each bite, and it's part of a balanced breakfast.
And that was a Captain Crunch ad, the end of it. And it ends with, and it's part of a balanced breakfast. And that played for 3.5 years. And it's part of a balanced breakfast over and over again. When in fact we know that Captain Crunch is mostly what?
Well, sugar.
Yeah, it's sugar. And sugar tastes great. Everybody likes sugar. But it's not good, and it's not a balanced breakfast. But they show you a picture of eggs and orange juice and milk, as well as the bowl of Captain Crunch. So everybody looks at the picture and they go, well, it's part of a balanced breakfast. Well, of course it is. It's sitting in the middle of a balanced breakfast.
It's part of a balanced breakfast.
Right, but people don't get that. I could put anything in that bowl, and it would be part of a balanced breakfast.
You could put Oreos in that bowl, and it would be part of a balanced breakfast.
I could put worms in that bowl, and it'd be part of a balanced breakfast. So we teach kids, just, younger kids, little things like that, how those kinds of, you know what, that has been so successful. Kids, you go watch your cartoons this Saturday morning. I'll guarantee you will see that technique at the end of every single sugary cereal ad. Part of a balanced breakfast, part of a balanced breakfast.
And they're really meaning it's a really crummy part of the balanced breakfast, but it's the part that makes us money.
Exactly.
I wondered, I was looking at a cereal box I had at home, and it has all these, I don't see how it's related, but it has all these Disney rides from Walt Disney World ads all over it. And I was wondering, I was going to ask you about that. What? I guess it got me, if I didn't get kind of stomach aches when I go on roller coasters, it got me curious about these roller coasters. But is that a common theme, technique?
It's part of the way the commercial system has grown up. And kids, big companies like Disney now own hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other companies. And so they advertise stuff that they own that you might never even think they own. Like, would you believe that Kraft American cheese is actually made by Philip Morris, the biggest tobacco company on earth? And they take the profits from American cheese and Oscar Mayer wieners, and they use those profits to get kids in other countries to become smokers.
Yeah, because they kind of started to, do you think that's worked, the crackdown on kids smoking here in America? I mean, remember Joe Camel was this... They said that Joe Camel was made kids want to smoke. And I think some of the kids in the audience will say, hey, I never wanted to smoke because of Joe Camel, but they stopped using that cartoon imagery. And do you think it's working?
Well, they don't tell us stuff like that. But kids, here's how you can tell whether an ad is working or not. If you see it for more than a couple of weeks, that means it's probably selling stuff. Maybe not to you, but maybe to other kids. And most people don't think that advertising affects them. It's a natural part of living in an advertising culture. None of us think that advertising affects us, but it's a $280 billion a year industry. So it's definitely affecting people.
Yeah, and making you want things that you didn't really want.
Yeah, making you spend money that you don't really need to spend.
Making you buy toys that you think work really cool because they look great on TV, and then you get them home and they're really junky and terrible. I bet that's happened to everyone.
Yeah, there's a great, that song you started with, Buy Me That. There's
Yeah,
a
Buy Me
great
Something.
media literacy video called Buy Me that features those advertisements of toys, and then they show the real toys and being held up by a guy, and they're smaller than his hand, and it's very educational.
We're going to play another song and then come back. We're talking to Bob McCannon. He's from the New Mexico Media Literacy Project. And I hope that by the end of this hour that all of our listeners are just a lot more aware of what's trying to be sold to you. And this is Kathy Fink and Marcy Markser and their idea of what we should do with our television.
It was in the morning, a sunny Saturday. We turned on the TV and on the couch we lay. We watched our favorite program and another couple shows. When our dad came in the room, folded arms and tapping toes. He said, "Kids, turn off the TV now. There's lots of things to do. Your beds aren't made, the chores aren't done, the sun is shining too."
I said, "Oh, Dad, I'm busy now. I've got to watch this show."
I guess we should have listened, but how were we to know? 'Cause then he walked across the room and then he pulled the plug. He lifted up the television and skipped across the rug. He opened up the window and then we screamed, "Dad, no!" But he gave the thing a heave and we watched the TV go.
Dad threw the TV out the window. The window. I think he's finally cracked. Dad threw the TV out the window. I got a feeling that it isn't coming back.
When I saw it go, when I heard it crash, I knew that things at our house would soon be changing fast.
Our dad looked out the window and he mumbled, "My, oh my." My brother looked out too and said, "I'm gonna die."
That night after dinner, when we went to watch the set, all we found was nothing. I said, "How could I forget?" My brother lay down on the floor and moaned, "What will I do?"
I said, "Why don't you move away?" He said, "The same to you."
But then he told a joke, and I told 2 or 3.
And the one about the elephants made Dad fall on his knees.
And Mom did her impression of a duck that couldn't fly.
That would have made you wet your pants and
Maybe even cry. Because
Dad threw the TV out the window. The window. I think he's finally cracked. Dad threw the TV out the window. I got a feeling that it isn't coming back.
life without a television wasn't what I feared. I didn't really miss it, though some friends thought I was weird.
I didn't miss commercials and all the blood and guts and all the stupid shows my brother watched that drove me nuts.
But then one sunny Saturday, our dad could not be found. We looked high and low, and from his room we heard a sound. We ran into his room to see what it could be, and found our father hiding there watching a TV. I said, "Oh, Dad, now really, you ought to be ashamed."
He said kind of sheepishly, "I want to watch the game."
We picked up the TV and waltzed across the room and gave the thing a heave and waited for the boom.
We threw the TV out the window. The window. Guess we finally cracked. We threw the TV out the window. We got a feeling that it isn't coming back. Oh, we threw the TV out the window. The window. Guess we finally cracked. We threw the TV out the window. And we'll live if it never comes back. Yes, we'll live if it never comes back.
Oh, that's terrific, Katie. I love that song. Well, you know, there's a lot of different ways to deal with the media, and television's one of the most important media, but video games and the internet are important as well. And we try and teach people a lot of different ways that they can choose to deal with the media. And one of them is obviously to turn off shows that they don't like, and some people do get rid of their TV, throw it out the window. But a lot of times it's best to find out how different kinds of media work, and that makes us more knowledgeable citizens. And I'd like to draw a distinction between becoming a citizen and becoming a consumer. TV tries to make us all into consumers. Actually, family and country and things like that are much more important than becoming consumers. But that song about throwing the TV out the window, some parents do get very angry about some of the things that go on TV. And I'm going to play you just a little ad. This is an ad for Barbie. And this is an ad that played for a long time, was very successful at selling little girls' Barbie dolls.
Uh-oh, out of juice.
Shopping fun, Barbie and Callie.
Bouncity, bouncity, wheel.
Callie grabs the cereal off the shelf.
She picks it up.
Apple juice, diapers. What else? When Barbie isn't looking, Callie helps herself.
So it ends there with when Barbie isn't looking, Callie helps herself. Now, the video is all happy and everyone's smiling and it's a wonderfully animated little Kelly and Barbie, and no one would stop to think that, well, what is really going on here? When Barbie isn't looking, Kelly helps herself. So this is Mattel actually showing us an example of shoplifting, but because it's so cute and it's so animated, no one stops to think about it. And also, to be fair, you don't have time to think about it because as soon as this ad is over, the next ad comes on. So, kids, we want you to be alert for ads like that might try to encourage you to do things that are wrong, in this case shoplifting, which is stealing, in order to make it exciting so that you'll want a Barbie.
Speaking of toys, this song is a favorite. It's a Tom Paxton song called The Marvelous Toy. It's almost like how things used to be.
When I was just a wee little lad, full of health and joy, my father homeward came one night and gave to me a toy. A wonder to behold it was, with many colors bright. The moment I laid eyes on it, it became my heart's delight. It went zip when it moved and bop when it stopped and whirr when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. The first time that I picked it up, I had a big surprise. For right on its bottom were two big buttons that looked like big green eyes. I first pushed one and then the other, then I twisted its lid. When I set it down again, this is what it did. It went zip when it moved and bop when it stopped and whirr when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. It first marched left and then marched right, then marched under a chair. And when I looked where it had gone, it wasn't even there. I started to cry and my daddy laughed, for he knew that I would find. When I turned around, my marvelous toy chugging from behind. It went zip when it moved and bop when it stopped, whirr when it stood still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will. Well, the years have gone by too quickly, it seems. I have my own little boy, and yesterday I gave to him my marvelous little toy. His eyes nearly popped right out of his head. He gave a squeal of glee. Neither one of us knows just what it is, but he loves it just like me. It still goes zip when it moves and bop when it stops, whirr when it stands still. I never knew just what it was, and I guess I never will.
Tom Paxton from his Going to the Zoo CD, The Marvelous Toy. The Marvelous Toy, that's what they look like on TV. They go zip when they move and bop when they stop. But do they really?
I think it's important, Katie, to realize that there's nothing wrong with toys, and there's nothing wrong with, kids enjoying toys. But what we've come to in this country is we've built a whole culture around selling kids not only toys but values associated with a commercial culture, and that's a big difference. I used to love toys, and kids out there, your favorite toys, play with them and enjoy them, but also go out in your garage and see how many toys you've got out in your garage that you don't use anymore, and toys that you got for Christmas that you never really used very much. What that is it's a giant waste of resources and money. And Katie, I got a kick out of your first song your first song talked about kids should try and talk their parents into buying them stuff, and it even mentioned credit cards. And one of the things that we know for a fact is that at Christmas time, consumer debt, parents charge way too much stuff on credit cards. And kids, it may be fun to get all those toys, but parents are actually spending money that should go toward your child, your education, your college education, maybe your health plan, those kinds of things, important things that are people are going into debt on credit cards. I have a little ad here, which I think you'll be surprised when you hear what this ad is for. And this is an ad. Kids, try and figure out, what product do you think that this is for? It starts out with a little girl.
I wish I had an elephant who'd always play with me, who'd always be my friend, who'd sit.
How are you today, Mrs. Malloy?
And share some tea. An elephant. An elephant.
The African elephant migrates to us.
An elephant and me.
Bye-bye.
But wishes are like elephants. They're bigger than can be.
Okay, maybe you can't give her everything her heart desires. But with the humongous purchase power of the new Visa Platinum card, maybe you can.
So here you've got an ad which is almost all with a cute little girl playing with her imaginary elephant. And the ad is for Visa cards, and it shows a picture of a dad, and they're trying to get dads to buy more and more things for their little girls, when in fact maybe the best thing might be to put some money in a savings account for their little girl, and to have little girls and boys maybe make some of their own toys, go out in their backyard and play, invent games, and do imaginative kind of things rather than sit and watch ads for more toys.
A lot of our listeners are kids on their way to soccer. I don't know if soccer is actually starting this week, but it's certainly kids on their way somewhere doing something. So what can kids do when they feel just this pressure to be cool? I just wish everybody would know that, the definition of cool is something that is like less than 60 degrees. I mean, cool is really your invention.
But I think that cool can be defined in a lot of ways. And I think you have a song about cool for us, don't you?
I do. I have a song. Let's see. I'm going to put it on here. This is a pretty neat CD that's called Come Join the Circle, Lesson Songs for Peacemaking.
Books on a chair, lay down on her bed and cried. Her sister came in and said, "What's wrong, Shelley?" and sat down by her side. The popular girls in my class don't like me. They said what I wear is uncool. I have to go buy some brand name jeans before I show my face back at school. Gently stroked her hair and said, Shell, I can see you're hurt. I'd like to share something from my heart. You can take it for what it's worth. You're friendly and caring, you're good at piano and jumping doubles too. You're fun to be with, you've got lots of interest. There's no one to compare with you. And just remember that clothes don't make the person, labels don't make the clothes. Don't be fooled by what they say is cool. You're the only one that really knows. You're the only one that really knows. Josh got mad 'cause his dad won't buy him those high-priced basketball shoes. He said some guys on his team make fun of him and say it's his fault when they lose. His dad said, son, you can save your money to buy that big label brand. If I could afford them, I still wouldn't buy them. I'll tell you why I take this stand. The ones who make those shoes can't even afford to wear them on their own feet. On $1 a day, the pay is so low they can barely afford to eat. While our hard-earned money helps make the company owners get richer each day. I can't tell you what to do with the pressure that's on you, but I'm loving you all the way. And please remember that clothes don't make the person, labels don't make the clothes. Don't be fooled by what they say is cool. You're the only one that really knows. Yeah, you're the only one that really knows. Clothes don't make the person, labels don't make the clothes. Don't be fooled by what they say is cool. You're the only one that really knows. Let's watch where our money goes.
You're listening to the Children's Hour. This is 89.9, KUNM and KUNM.org. Live and local from the University of New Mexico.
You're listening to the Children's Hour on KUNM 89.9 FM and online at KUNM.org. Today we're rebroadcasting a show we recorded in 2002 with the legendary Bob McCannon, the director of the New Mexico Media Literacy Project for years. Mr. McCannon passed away in 2013, and there's a street named for him on the west side in Albuquerque. But what he taught us in 2002 remains true today. Here he is discussing the song we just heard before the break.
Well, obviously, cool is defined by you kids, and you can define it any way you want. We would hope that you would think that cool might be something other than a $200 pair of sneakers. We might think that maybe putting some of that money into a savings account for your education would be cooler than a $200 pair of sneakers, and maybe a $50 pair of sneakers would be cool. So there's a lot of different ways to look at cool. That elephant commercial I just played you, it was all about little girls and elephants, and yet it was for credit cards. And credit cards charge huge rates of interest, and that's money that you don't have to pay if you don't go into debt on credit cards. You parents out there listening right now, you might think, how much does the average American family owe on its credit cards? It's over $9,000 the average American family owes on their credit cards. And that's at a huge interest rate, over 18%. So there's a lot of different ways of defining cool. Let me play one of my favorite songs, and this is a song by some people that decided that, it's kind of a strange idea, but they decided that wearing leather and killing little baby calves to make kid gloves and stuff like that wasn't cool. And they made up their ad about what is cool. And the title of this is Cows Are Cool.
I'm a steer, and they're steering you wrong. Listen now.
I'm a cow.
'Cause I don't have long hours.
Sweet backsides.
Would like to stay together. We don't want to be your leather.
Won't you show me some love? Don't you make me kid gloves or a jacket or a shoe, 'cause my skin ain't for you. Do I make myself clear? Keep your hands off my rear.
So this is an advertisement from PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. And they have their definition of cool. Doesn't have to be our definition of cool. Doesn't have to be your definition of cool. So there are lots of different definitions of cool. And by the way, Katie, you said that a lot of these young boys and girls are going to be on their way to soccer practice and things like that pretty soon. I think that is cool. I think it's really neat to be out there getting exercise and playing sports and learning sportsmanship, teamwork. Now that is really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are our heroes among us. Those of you out there learning new things, whether it be sports or instruments or horseback riding or whatever you're doing. When it comes to, reading between the lines of advertising, Bob.
Every time you see one of those ads, you say, okay, who's paying for this ad? Why are they paying for this ad? Now, what is this ad saying to us? What is it really saying to us? And those are two different questions. The Barbie ad was just fun. Barbie was just shopping, and the unfortunate thing was that Barbie was shoplifting. And those are two completely different things. So you can ask yourself questions like that. We call those texts and subtexts. What are the texts and what are the subtexts of the ads? And media literacy is not just about understanding media. Media literacy is also about producing media. Because, see, we think that there's a lot of you that have neat stories to tell that do not get told by the average mainstream media. That's one of the wonderful things about KUNM and programs like Katie's here. You wouldn't find this kind of program in the mainstream media, but we like to teach skills that will enable you to produce and tell your own stories that aren't getting told.
I want to play this very goofy song for you, Bob. This is, it's kind of hard to understand these lyrics. This is Barry Lewis Polisar, and this song is, well, believe it or not, it's called Have a Little Smoke. Yeah, just take a listen.
Well, I was walking down the street when I changed the scene. A baby waddling back and forth and crawling right to me. And she said, have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Her hat was pulled down over her eyes, her diaper it was ripped, and dangling down to my surprise, a cigarette between her lips. She said, have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Well, I took that smoke again, a choke, I gagged and coughed and spit. My throat felt sore and I fell to the floor, but the cigarette still was lit. She said, have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Oh, my eyes puffed out, I began to shout, and I coughed and choked and gagged. I was close to death, I caught my breath. She said, want another drag? She said, oh, have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? For goodness sake, how my head ached, it took my breath away. As I coughed and gasped, I felt her grasp. Once more I heard her say, have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? Have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke, won't you have a little smoke with me? I think I know why babies smoke, it makes them think they're older. But me, I think I'm old enough, so this is what I told her. No, I won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke with you. Won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke with you. Won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke with you. Won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke, won't have a little smoke with you. Have a little
Yeah, I hope you'll say no. Ugh.
Yeah, kids, we're definitely not advocating smoking.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, the most glamorous media of all, movies, has been featuring more and more actors smoking in it. And kids, when I was your age, it was mostly just the bad guys that smoked. But for some reason, as smoking has gone down more and more amongst the general population, smoking in the movies has been going up. And the surveys bear this out. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've been seeing more and more smoking in the movies. And not only that, but we're seeing that kids that watch a lot of these movies that feature smoking actually are more likely to smoke. And of course, the only people that are doing well because of that are the people that make cigarettes. And I'm going to play you a little bit of a movie that a lot of kids saw here. This is a movie called Hackers that really targeted kids, elementary school kids, and junior high kids.
I'm in this computer, right? So I'm looking around, throwing commands at it. I don't know where it is or what it does or anything. It's like choice. It's just beautiful, okay? Like 4 hours, I'm just messing around in there.
Now, I wish you could see the movie here, because as this young boy with braces on, and he looks like he's about 13, is saying what he's just saying, that whole scene, he's smoking 2 cigarettes. And I have shown this to literally tens of thousands of kids, and I've asked them, how old do you think this kid is? And they say, this boy is 12, 14, 16. I've never had anybody say higher than 16. And of course, you're supposed to be 21 to smoke. And he's smoking not 1, but 2 cigarettes at once. And it's the center of attraction in the middle of the movie. Now, those sorts of scenes are getting to be more and more common in the movie. So kids, when you see actors smoking in the movies, you just might think about the fact that 10, 15 years ago, the cigarette companies used to say that smoking didn't hurt your health. 10, 15 years ago, the cigarette companies used to say that smoking wasn't addictive. The cigarette companies used to say that they didn't target kids with their ads. And now we know for a fact that all of that was untrue, that all of those things were untrue. It's bad for your health. They targeted kids with their advertising. And, of course, it's very addictive. So be aware when you're watching the movies if you see people smoking, and ask the question that media literacy likes to ask. Why is this happening? Who's benefiting from it? And maybe who's paying for this?
I wondered, I learned, I think through your project some years back, I was reading some of your materials. I started looking for product placement in movies, and I was really shocked. It turns out some of the movies that you just seem like the coolest movies of all time have things like Coca-Cola cans, and they're not like on the side. They're facing the camera so that you can see the words Coca-Cola. Yeah, what is that?
My favorites are, and kids, you can watch for this. Lots of times you'll see in a movie, somebody will go over to a refrigerator, and they'll open a refrigerator, and they'll get something out of the refrigerator, and all of a sudden, you'll be in the back of the refrigerator seeing them open the door, and the Cokes or the Pepsis or the beers or whatever they are will all be facing the back of the refrigerator, which is, of course, where the camera is. And so when you see that happen, say, well, my goodness, there's a camera in the back of the refrigerator.
But what I want to know is, do the companies pay for that? Is that those product placement? Is that advertising in movies?
The companies deny that they pay for it. And kids, all I can tell you is that we know for a fact that Superman got thrown into a Marlboro truck back in the 80s, and it was about $500,000 that changed hands there, that Philip Morris paid to have that happen. And it's important to realize that they say they don't do it anymore, but then again, they used to say that cigarettes were good for you too. So we don't really know, but we know that there are agents in Hollywood that do nothing but place products in movies. Every time you see a product in a movie, it's been placed there by an agent, and the agent usually receives a fee. And it's becoming, by the way, very, very much more common in television. You'll now see products. We just recorded one the other night, which is Coors Light, that happened in the middle of a George Lopez sitcom, and right in the middle of the story.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with the story, but just
No,
that
as a
planted
matter.
that little thought in your head. Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, I the way I looked at it is when I see these, because of course on the big screen they're like 3-foot high cans of Coke or something. They're really trying to make you go buy one right now in the lobby. That's what I think, and I think resist, bring your bottle of water.
But don't buy the water there, because the water's going to cost you $2.65 if you go to the theater.
No, you got to sneak in your water bottle. All right, I do advocate sneaking in water bottles to movie theaters. Well, I want to jump to this next song, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more. This is the Children's Hour right here on KUNM. This is Bob McCannon. He's talking to us from the New Mexico Media Literacy Project, and he is telling us how we can be a little bit more educated, a little bit more literate about what the media is trying to sell us, because you know what, they're trying to sell something to you. Imagine what if kids were in charge of all this? Would we be trying to sell? Probably not. You know what we'd be doing? We'd be trying to get people to play. Okay, here, check out this song.
We come from the country, living in the country. Go back to the country, turn the world around. We come from the country, living in the country. Go back to the country, turn the world around. We come from the city, living in the city. Go back to the city, turn the world around. We come from the city, living in the city. Go back to the city, turn the world around. We can make a difference, kids can make a difference. Save the place we live in, turn the world around. We can make a difference, kids can make a difference. Save the place we live in, turn the world around. Listen to the children, voices of the children, spirit of the children, turn the world around. Listen to the children, voices of the children, spirit of the children, turn the world around. Listen to the children, voices of the children, spirit of the children, turn the world around.
I am an invisible child and I have an invisible friend. We live together in the wild and happy days we spend. And when we go into the town, people turn around. We carry things that they can see, but they can't see him or me. I like to be invisible, invisible and free. I like to be invisible so no one can see me. We wrap ourselves in silver clouds and travel through the sky. We look down upon the world, my invisible friend and I. The sun is warm upon our backs, it's wonderful to fly. Our shadows shine down to the earth as we go sailing by. I like to be invisible, invisible and free. I like to be invisible so no
Katie, that's a beautiful song. And, of course, the song before it was beautiful, too. But Kids Who Turn the World Around. There's a lot of people who are invisible in the media. We have, for example, at the New Mexico Media Literacy Project, we have a wonderful project run by Dennis Doyen, who works with Native American leaders all over the state, because those kids are trying to tell their stories, and you very seldom see Native Americans in the media. They are, in a sense, invisible. Hispanic girls, if you're a young Hispanic girl, you're not going to see very many role models on television. There just aren't very many independent, powerful, employed role models for you on television.
The more you know, the less you get sucked into being sold to. The more you sort of, I hate to offend the PETA people, but you put your leather gloves on in a way, and you're able to be shielded from being so sold to by knowing, hey, you know what? They're trying to sell me something, and I'm not buying it.
And the media is much more than just turning us into consumers. It keeps us from our main role, which is to be citizens. We live in the rarest form of government in history. Most of history is a history of kings and monarchs and dictators. Kids, we live in a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's called a democracy, and it's only as good as we make it.
We here at KUNM, I'm just a volunteer, I'm just one of you who came up here, got the training, and just, trying to do my part. And you can too. We need more folks like you helping change the media into what our democracy is about, which is to have a well-rounded media, something with opinions from everybody. And, Bob, I so appreciate you coming up onto the Children's Hour today. Thank you. It's been wonderful lessons learned by us all, and I hope that we can speak with you again sometime.
Thanks for inviting me.
In the future. This is Woody Guthrie.
You can play with me. You can hold my hand. We can skip together down to the pretzel man. You can wear my daddy's hat, put on my mama's dress. You can even laugh at me, but don't you push me down. No, don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. You can play with me. We can build a house. You can catch my ball and bounce it all around. You can take my skates and ride 'em up and down. You can even get mad at me, but don't you push me down. No, don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Well, you can play with me. We can play all day. You can use my dishes if you put them away. You can feed me apples and oranges and plums. You can even wash my face. But don't you push me down. No, don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. No, don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down. Don't you push me, push me, push me. Don't you push me down.
Don't give me another screen. I spend all day looking at one on my laptop. It's called work. Don't give me another screen. I spend all night looking at a 70-inch television. It's called leisure. Stoke City versus Bolton Wanderers in the best league in the world. Don't buy me a Kindle for Christmas. Just come by and rekindle my heart. Don't make me your Facebook friend. Just come by and drive me round the another screen. I don't need an iPad to make me dream. Don't give me another screen. Don't give me another screen. I'll scream and scream and scream and scream.